Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to our movie club. Today we will speak about movie Copycat with Sigourney Weaver. It's a hard name to pronounce usually. Sigourney Weaver.
She pronounces it Sigourney.
Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver. Strange name.
For Russian ear, for Russian mouth, it's hard to pronounce. Okay. Copycats with Sigourney Weaver, 1995, pretty old one, but still good one. I enjoyed it. So let's cover the story. Let's start with characters. Let me read a few because teacher Lee wrote in our chat. So we have Helen, our protagonist, played by Sigourney. Monahan, right? Actually,
Monahan, yep.
Monahan. It's a female detective. Ruben, her partner. Second bad guy, Peter Foley. First bad guy, Daryl. Gay attendant, Eddie. And all this happened in San Francisco. Okay. So now we know the names. If you forgot, just look at the chat. We have them. Okay, let's start with the story. So, Sergey, please, could you start?
Yeah, there is the story starts from the conference where Helen speak about serial killers, and she showed some examples of serial killer from the past, and she explained some type of killers, and I like the moment when she asked to stand up men, and after that she asked to please sit down black people, please sit down something else, and now you can see 10 white men, and one man is a potential serial killer.
So white, middle-aged, yeah, looks pretty. You will never suggest. Yeah, right?
Yeah, and looks like strange, and looks like strange because this movie from 1995 and 23 years before Me Too, but it was very hard, and I think the feminists like this moment.
Do you think? Well, I don't think so. But you know, was it a new fact for you that there are no black serial killers?
But it's a new fact because I read the news from BBC channel, and the BBC told 1 month ago about black guy who is serial killers in US, but I think this is normal sharing among black people and white people. It not depends on our skin, I think.
On your race, yeah.
No,
Actually, is it a fact? What do you think?
Yes, all serial killers that I'm aware of were all white men. I don't know of any black serial killers. I don't know why.
I was just wondering, is it a real fact or just made for movie? You know?
I think it's a real fact, yeah. I think the movie's pretty much based on real fact because it refers to a lot of real cases about real serial killers. So I would believe most of what it says. I think it's intended to be factual.
I think that the serial killers are very smart people, and they.
What are you implying?
They
don't continue, you know.
Okay.
They're obsessed is a better word. They're obsessed. They're focused.
They put a lot of effort in what they like, so that's why they're successful. Not because they're very smart, just because they're concentrated, I guess. It's my opinion. I don't know.
Yes, and they have to prepare their crimes. They have to read a lot of information about their enemies. But I think it's a hard job.
It's hard job. Should be so. Vasant, please, your question.
Actually, today I learned the word mark. Does that related to a serial killing or something? A single person who can kill multiple people at a time? Is that the word is related to
Amok means out of control. Amok means chaos. Yeah.
Okay. Run amok. So the sentence was like that.
Yeah. To run amok is to kill randomly.
Okay.
Those aren't serial killers. Those are just crazies.
Just like a mass shooting, something like that.
Yeah, mass shooting. Yeah.
So, for instance, he went amok and killed 10 people. Is it a valid sentence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we learned that our protagonist is kind of expert, professor or something. She giving lectures to unprepared people about serial killers, and it's her field of expertise. Is it correct word, teacher? Field of expertise.
Field of expertise. Yep.
Field of expertise. And okay, let's continue with the story. Sergey, thank you very much. Gerard, please, could you continue?
Okay. So, what in this conference, Helen goes to the bathroom and meets a former serial killer that has escaped, and the serial killer killed a police officer that was outside watching the toilet, and he tries to kill her using a wire. So he wanted to hang her while she was in the toilet, but at the end, I don't know how, but she didn't die. But we can see later that she is in an apartment and she is traumatized. She has become agoraphobic, so he's afraid of big spaces. Okay, and she's working from home. She has a computer connected to the internet, early internet.
Have you noticed this computer graphics and everything in this movie? Fantastic.
Yes.
So, my childhood. Big monitors, you know, all this.
Yeah, CRT monitors.
Yes, like the design of this Windows on the
14 inches.
Yeah, very good, very good. So yes, she how to put it briefly? So she was a victim of unsuccessful, I don't know, attack or something. So she escaped an attack. Yeah. Okay. And it was a first of all, I've noticed that she went to bathroom already with a guard, right? So she probably were in danger before. We know
she saw the guy in the middle of the audience. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Okay, let me mention something here just to make sure you understand the setting here. She's a criminal psychologist. So when the police find people murdered and they see a pattern that's similar, they think we may have a serial killer if a lot of people die in the same way. So they call her, and she uses her expertise to help them figure out who the killer is. So she has probably put many serial killers in prison. So when they escape, they want to kill her. So she's probably in danger of serial killers trying to kill her for revenge. So she probably has a bodyguard, the policeman that goes with her. So this serial killer in the audience, you know, that kind of said, I'm going to cut your throat, I'm going to kill you. He arranged some distraction to get the bodyguard away, and then he followed her into the restroom. So he's looking to get revenge on her because she probably put him away in prison one time.
Yep, I see. So how would we describe it? She's under control. She's guarded by cops. How?
She just has a bodyguard.
Has a bodyguard. Okay, so police looks after her, right? Okay. What's else?
And one more thing to consider. Please? Okay, even if this serial killer was not a previous prisoner of hers, she's a famous celebrity in the field of serial killers. So killing her, a serial killer, would gain exceptional fame for being the serial killer that killed the serial killer catcher. So everyone targeted her. All the serial killers like to target her because she's a big target. You know what I'm saying? If they kill her, they can gain a lot of fame. So she's a target, so of nuts. So she needs a
I see.
bodyguard to protect herself.
So for killers, for people who is seeking for fame, she's a good target, right?
Right.
Okay. Vasant, please.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Later in that movie, they showed a clipping from that court proceedings, and he said that you are dead, something like that. So she must have confessed, or how to say that? Is that a testimonial against him?
Should
It's
probably
strong.
make some.
It's additional evidence.
Okay, evidence. Yeah. So that's why.
Gerard, please.
Yes, I wanted to ask Teacher Lee whether does it exist a character like Helen, a firm psychologist that helps the police to catch serial killers?
Yes, it's a real thing. In fact, she was probably lecturing to an audience. They may be college students who are studying criminology in college. I think she was like a guest speaker to share her expertise in the criminal field to students or professionals who are in that field. And, she was kind of giving them some tips and things to think about.
I'm wondering one thing. In the US, when there are murderers that can be serial killers, it is normal being in the news? Or,
Yeah, well, the media, the media go after, Trump when he says boo. If there's a serial killer, the media are going to be all over it. Oh my God, there's a killer on the loose. Everyone stay in your house, lock your doors, don't go outside, keep your kids home. Oh my God, So the police try to keep serial killers kind of secret as long as they can, because once the media finds out, it becomes what we call a media circus.
Yeah, I read an article once, and Soviet police in the past, they not allowed to publish any news about serial killers, because they say serial killers lay down after that. It's impossible to find them, so it must be silenced or something.
Well, another thing is they called this movie Copycat for a reason. When some guy commits a crime and gets famous, other bad guys see that and they copy the guy's crime, and then they can pretend to be him and they can get famous too. So the police don't want to reveal too much information, because then they'll get copycat killers, and then they get confused, what the real evidence is, or if it's one person or 10 people. So copycat crimes are actually a real problem in the USA.
I see.
One kid hangs himself, suddenly 20 kids hang themselves. People like to copy other people. It's crazy.
Yes. Vasant, please.
Yes, usually the people wanted to keep the killer's identity hidden, because I have seen so many in so many cases they have hidden the killer's the culprit's face with a cover. I thought they were protecting him, but actually the reason is to save some innocent life from the public. They might have misunderstood by looking at an innocent, and he might be similar to the same killer, so they might have killed. They could have killed him. So to protect innocent life, they put a cover on them.
And some people are masochists. They want to be arrested for something. They just feel like they need to be punished. Religious people. So people will confess to crimes they didn't do. I killed them all. Well, how did you kill this guy? I shot him. Nah, he was stabbed. You're a fake. Get out of here. So that they hide some of the facts also, so they can weed out the fake confessors to the real, guy. So
people are crazy, really. Gerard, please.
Yes, and always when we talk about serial killers, it looks like the serial killers had a very difficult childhood, like they were punished, mistreated, and all this stuff. It was always the same. All the movies say the same. Is it true, Teacher Lee?
I think that's what she said in her lecture, right? They usually had some kind of childhood abuse problem. I think that is true. I'm not an expert, but that's what I usually read or hear about.
I like this joke about doctors, you know. If you feel healthy, you just not investigated well or something. I think the same way is here, you know. If you take any person and will investigate his childhood, you will find something, you know, to say that's the reason, you know, it was about childhood. Okay, it's just a joke, but it was
yeah, usually serial killers are after control, after power. They want to see the other person scared to death. They want to smell their fear so they feel powerful. So that's usually because they weren't powerful in their childhood. They were on the receiving end.
Okay. Vasant, please, would you like to continue with the story?
Yes. After that attempt, the story moves to years after that. It takes a huge leap, and where some random girls started to got killed by an unknown serial killer, and so it resembled some old patterns. So they asked the doctor Helen's help. Helen was affected by a syndrome. You know, I forgot the name.
Agoraphobic.
Agoraphobia. Yeah, agoraphobic. Then, so she shut herself inside her home. She couldn't move outwards because of the disease. The police were seeking her help, and they approached her. They got help from her home, and she was tipping them off by detecting or reducing, connecting the knots between the killings. Then finally they had a trace towards the killer at some point.
Leila, would you like to continue or not?
Yeah, I mean, I can say some things about okay.
Please.
Sometimes later, as was said, there's a wave of crimes, and detectives Monaghan and Goetz, I think,
Rubin.
They are, yeah. Thanks, Lee. They are investigating the murders. And meanwhile, Helen phoned the police anonymously a lot of times. I didn't understand it. You know, if I were her, I would call the police and let them know that I need help. You know,
I think she has a bad reputation with the police because after her experience, she became an alcoholic.
I see.
So she kind of lost respect in the field. So she doesn't want to tell him who she is, but she wants to give him her expertise. She's retired. She's not working for the police. She's a retired alcoholic, but her work ethic, she's got to use her expertise to help find serial killers. So she's calling them anonymously because of that. She wants to help, but if they know who she is, they'll say, "Oh, you're just a drunk."
Yeah, but she is the person who finds out that, identifies that the murderer is copycatting, you know, and I think she decided to help the detectives because she's good at her job, and I don't know. Anyway, I think they started together with the lady police. I don't know her name anyway. So soon the copycat killer, Peter, contacts with her, but I'm not sure what happens next.
Okay, let's ask Sergey. Sergey, what happens next?
Next, we can see the serial killer who lives with his mother at home, and he has a secret room in the basement, and with a typical room for serial killers, as I think, and with a wall, photos, with a computer, like a Silence of the Lambs movie, and we can see some preparations for next killing, and we see the spatial application for computer or not. We can see the some viruses for computer of Helen when she opened the email, and she can see some features of killing. I don't know.
Just a video, right?
Well, yes, but for 1995, it's a fantastic video, I think. Yeah, and serial killer killed next victim, and Paulus and Helen became to understand the order of killing. Order is much hero election.
Yeah, so Copycat just following some serial killer, and that's why they knew who will be next, or what kind of.
Ivan, is there a sequence?
Yeah, so it was a sequence in the past. So it's a chronology from the past. Some serial killer in the past made this, then that, then that.
Okay, copycatting, great. Okay.
Yeah, so now Copycat just repeating all the same actions, and they check it, right? There must be a car, there must be a petrol station, there must be a phone booth. Just check it. There will be a letter, and it's all came true. So they knew exactly that the Copycat following very scrupulously, right? Or what's the word for this?
Okay.
Usually, please.
Else, I think to consider here, kind of a subplot is Helen had been in the field for many years. She was a veteran. She probably lived during some of these serial killing times, and she memorized every detail of every murder scene. She studied them, and so these Monahan and Rubin, they're young guys. They're millennials. They don't know about these old cases. So when they see when they see the crime scene, it doesn't look familiar to them. But as soon as they tell Helen, "Oh, we found this." "Oh, did you also find this and this and this?" "Yeah, how did you know?" See, she knows more about the crime scene than they do because she's got the expertise, and they're new. They're not experienced like she is. So they come to her for help because they need her expertise. She can see things immediately that might take them a month to figure out doing research. But her research is up here.
Yep. She already wrote all these books.
And let me mention something else too. Now, after her experience, she became mentally, just paranoid, if you will. And she became agoraphobic, vulnerable in an open space. Out in an open space, anybody can see me, they can walk up to me, they can kill me. I'm unsafe. I got to stay in my fortress. So she became kind of crazy a little bit, psychotic, or whatever you want to call it. She retired from work. She quit working. She's just sitting at home drinking booze all the time. She became an alcoholic. So she doesn't want to be involved in it. She's scared to death of a serial killer coming and killing her. She's just terrified. So when Monahan finds out who the crazy caller is, and remember all the guys in the office, all the policemen saying, "Oh, it's that crazy lady calling again. What a loony. She's nuts." That's why Helen did it anonymously, because it was obvious she was kind of crazy. So Monahan figured out who it was, went to see her and said, "We need your help." And she said, "Nope, I'm retired. Go away." "Well, I'll leave these here anyway." So Monahan knew her psychology. And so when they left, they knew that Helen was going to look at those folders, look at the pictures, and get obsessed with finding this killer, and then she would decide to help him. So there's some psychology going on here. The Monahan is using a little psychology on Helen, and Helen's using psychology on the serial killers.
Yeah, okay. And I actually, I don't understand what was Rubin for in this movie, actually.
He's just a sidekick.
Not clear yet.
Well, also, let me mention one more thing, okay?
Yes.
Talking about Reuben. Why is Reuben there, okay? Helen is the, well, not Helen. Monahan doesn't like to kill people. She doesn't like to use excessive force. She likes to wound, to shoot for the weapon hand, not kill the person. So she's a little bit of a bleeding liberal, okay? Don't hurt the guy, just disarm the guy. Whereas Reuben, just kill the guy, you know? Shoot to kill. We're taught to aim for the chest, you know? We're not taught to disarm the guy. You've got it wrong. So they had a ideological or philosophy conflict.
Okay.
So Reuben's purpose was he got killed by a random guy because she wounded the guy instead of killing him, and he ended up grabbing a gun and killing her partner. So Reuben was a counterfoil that changed Monahan's attitude.
I see.
And
So
at the end of the movie,
yeah,
at the end of the movie, she reacted differently than she would have if she had been, you know, if Reuben hadn't been killed due to her being safe, you know.
So Reuben kind of developed her character, right? So
yeah,
he put his life for that, you know, for this development.
Yeah, we call Reuben a foil. A foil is a device in the movie, as Yvonne said, that's only there to develop someone else's character.
I see.
So when he died, he served his purpose in the movie.
Okay. Speaking about StarCraft, he about Star Trek, he should wear a red T-shirt, right?
Red shirt, yeah.
Red shirt. Okay, Gerard, please continue.
Okay.
Where we stopped? I forgot. We stopped. They found a place where serial killer live.
Yeah, they found who is the serial killer because they know there's a guy that, a former student that was present in this day. The guy took a name, Peter, I don't know what more. Peter Foley was the real name. But then Peter, I don't know what was the first name. Peter, I don't know. I don't see the name here. Okay. And this guy, okay, I think Helen had an assistant, gay guy.
Andy.
Andy. And he was in a nightclub and Peter Foley, the key killed him.
Mm-hmm.
And then one more.
Okay. And killed him again, copycating the previous scenario, right?
Yes.
All these details.
So that's
okay, and he left a message, right? He left a message for her.
Yes, in printed. I don't know whether it was made by the computer or cutting letters from a newspaper.
It was a famous way back then, right? To make everything from newspaper. Now you just print it.
So the detective Inspector Monahan was forbidden to give the message to Helen, but she gave the message to Helen all the same. And I don't know what more. What they did about that?
Yeah, let's go on. So this copycat guy, Peter, he attacked her, he kidnapped her, right? And like recreated the settings of the first attempt. How we call this attempt? Murder attempt or something. When someone tried to kill you, it's
attempted murder.
Attempted murder. Okay.
I guess.
Sergey, please, question.
Yeah, and I have a question about the letter from the newspaper's letter. I think that if you started to print the letter, the police department could you find you, because I heard that each printer has a special features. But if I have been serial killer, I have not print the letter from my printer.
Okay, what you're speaking about is a backdoor, you know. So they have backdoors for special services to check you. But Sergey, it does not sound realistic, you know, because
but I think it's a work with the risks.
Yeah,
Okay,
let me explain what we're talking about. Now, this was back in the day of the typewriters, old typewriters, remember?
Yeah.
Typewriters have metal keys.
Yep.
That little metal key, if it's got a scratch or a dent, then that typewriter, that letter on the page is like a fingerprint. They can match that to your typewriter in your home, and that is compelling evidence that you are the killer. So to avoid that kind of evidence that links them to something they own, they use the cutout letters from a newspaper. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's forethought, it's preparation.
Yeah, and the same with your cursive, right? If you write something by your hand, it can later be against you. So, but what Sergey is talking about this micro program. You know, every printer now it's a complex like device. It has some micro code inside. And if you, for instance, try to print some money on it, it will not work. Try to print $1. You could not, because it will be just a black stain on paper. So this microcode controls what you print. You cannot make a copy of money by these printers. So, but Sergey is saying that, you know, all these letters will be, you know, like reported by printer to FBI or something. I don't think it's true, because it's just impossible. You know, in many ways you can print your your letter as a picture. You know, it's impossible to recognize.
Okay. Do you think that I can print the letter?
Yeah, you can print the letter. I'm going to kill someone. And, your printer will not report you. Not yet. Let's say not yet. Not in 2020. Maybe maybe late.
The Internet of Things will keep records.
Yeah, exactly. Handwriting analysis. Yeah, when we have experts that can say this and that was written by one person, right?
Yep.
Okay. Vasans, good to have you back. We just talking about, you know, second attempt of murdering Helen. So they are in the same settings in toilet, and she was kidnapped by Peter. Would you like to continue? Would you like to describe this?
Yeah, it's almost at the end of the movie. Huh? Okay.
Yes.
At this point, we have another ally for Helen, that is NJ, and she somehow managed to guess the place where he would have kept her. And she followed the trace, and finally she found the place. But he made a trick to deceive her, and he exactly got her gun, and he shot her twice. He thought she was dead, but she wore a bulletproof jacket, and so later she survived. And Helen managed to escape from that place because he wanted to witness the death of the police officer, but she refused, and she wanted to die by hanging. But then he decided to lose that knot. Then she managed to punch a glass piece on his thigh, and she went to the terrace of that building, and that's where he was trying to kill her, but MJ followed them and she shot him more than thrice. And this time she didn't make a mistake because she had learned a lesson from her friend. She was not able to help save him. So this time he pulled it. Yeah, that was a happy end. But there is another end also. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do we call this piece of glass? A shutter or something? There was a word for piece of glass. You know, when you shatter the glass, you have small pieces.
Oh, shard.
Shard. Okay, so she injured him with a shard, right? Right. I remember. And it was an interesting fight between Helen and Peter. It wasn't fight of hands or something. It was a like psycho fight, right? She knew what he was expecting, and she like manipulated him. Do you remember, Sergey? How it
Yeah,
went?
yeah.
Can you describe?
She became to kill herself and jump from the
Toilet seat.
from the toilet seat. But the serial killer fears because after that he will not have the
Yeah, it wasn't according to his plan, you know. It's a bit different. Yeah, right.
And he will not have the respect from the people and from the other serial killers.
Yeah. He will not be, I don't know, printed in books, probably like a successful one, right?
Yeah.
He may be a loser, but who will loser? you don't have to kill him.
And I like in that episode when he tried to scare her with a knife, you know, tried to cut something, and she said, you know, I don't care. I don't scare of you. So you are nobody, and all the things. So he was out of control for a moment because of this. I like this fight.
Yeah. Another point that's interesting. This is another thing you see in a lot of movies, is serial killers or bullies. They like to see the fear. They get the thrill from your fear, and if you don't show fear, it upsets them. They lose the enjoyment. They don't get the psychological high, and they get angry because you're not afraid of them. Sometimes a woman that's going to be raped, if she says, "You want me? Okay, come on, do it. You know, I'll give it to you for free." That makes the guy not want her because there's no fear anymore. So she's playing a psychological game. You want to kill me? I'm not going to let you do it. I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to beat you, you know? And he got all upset. Wait a minute. No. This is not my perfect plan.
Wow, a lot of tactics.
And she explained that. They were talking about motivation of serial killers with policemen, and she said the only motivation they have, it's like a control. It's kind of be in control of situation and everything. So if they don't feel that, it's not their like cup of tea. What's the reason to do that? They don't do that for money or for something else. They do it to see the fair, to control the situation, all those things. If you break this, no more motivation.
Yeah.
Vasants, please.
Yeah, their psychology is just like the stray dogs, you know. When they bark at you, if you run away from them, then they will chase you. But if you shout at them, then it will back off. So the same psychology works here.
Yep. Okay, so we didn't mention a lot of subplots in the movies. There are many, so it's okay. So, but I think we covered the main story, and we forgot to tell about this guy who made the initial attempt. What was his name? Daryl, right? Daryl. And she visited him in a prison and made a trade for some information. Gerard, do you remember?
Yes, this guy. The one that tried to kill Helen. At the end of the movie, we see that the guy was the one that encouraged Peter Foley to kill Helen. And now he is writing a letter to another serial killer to do the job again.
Yeah, but this trait and the whole like dialogue, it was very like mad, I would say, very, very crazy. So this guy Daryl, he is sick actually. I think so. Teacher Lee, he was condemned to death, right? This first guy.
I think so. This is another interesting thing about America. Okay, this guy's a serial killer in prison, and to serial killers and criminals, he's a hero. He's worshipped by a lot of criminals and copycat guys that hate women and want to kill. You know, he's their hero, their champion. They're all writing letters to him. Oh man, I love you. You know, and today he would be a YouTube influencer from prison. You know, and so he had all these fans, and he asked one of the fans, "Do me a favor, I want you to kill, you know, Helen for me." And the guy said, "Okay." You know, but he had his own way to do it. He wanted to do it, you know, in the copycat manner of other criminals to get more fame than Daryl did. So he kind of deviated from Daryl's plan because he wanted to be his own style of serial killer. So that made Daryl kind of betray the guy. But to betray the guy, he wanted something special from Helen to add to his glory, his library of trophies. So he said, I want a signed copy of your underwear. He called them beaver covers. Beaver is a slang for a woman's private part. So he wanted a copy of her beaver covers with her signature on it so he can brag to all of his fans, look what I've got. You know, I've got the serial killer expert's underwear, you know, with her signature. I'm so good, you know. So Yep. And Monahan thought, oh, she's not going to do that. But Helen said, I'll do it, because she doesn't care about respect anymore. She wants to catch the killer. So she's pretty good. So a lot of mind games in this movie. So she had to undergo another shame to, you know, achieve her goal, and she was willing to do that. Willing to make that sacrifice, to be thought, you know, a silly woman or something, you know, manipulated by a criminal to catch the real bad guy.
She's not normal, right, Lee? She's not normal.
She's a unique individual, let's say that.
Unique. I don't want to be unique.
She was driven, okay? She was driven. She had a focus. She had a purpose. She knew what she wanted, and she was willing to sacrifice things to achieve,
I can
get the mission
that.
done. Yeah.
But what she did was not acceptable for me because, I don't know.
Well, Monahan thought she would never do it. Monahan said she's not going to do that. She's a famous, you know, expert criminologist. But Helen said, okay, I'll do it. And kind of surprised Monahan because she didn't understand that Helen's entire life, her whole career, has the sole purpose of catching serial killers. She's willing to do anything it takes to do what she does best. So that's another thing. It's the mindset of the older veterans versus the mindset of the younger generation. So a little bit of younger generation, older generation mind battle here too, I think. What do you think, Yvonne?
Yeah, it could be.
I don't understand this YouTube influencers and all these mad guys. So for me, it's all very sick guys, you know. So
yes,
it's real. It's real though. In America, Logan Paul, he's a scumbag. I wouldn't watch one of his videos, and he's got millions of followers. Scares me.
Yeah, but speaking of serial, well, you know, partially I can understand this. I mean, what I can understand that it's some kind of, some people, as you explain it, worship them and trying to like investigate all the small details. Sometimes I can see that in our culture as well. So in our culture, sometimes we have a movie about people in jail. So for what reason? I don't understand why we you know, show all these small details about, I don't know, jail, prison culture. So no idea, but it looks very crazy.
Yeah, I'll give you another example. We had one case where some black guy was put in prison for some crime. I don't remember. Don't know his name. Don't know his crime. But what I remember about him is he was a handsome guy. And the media printed a picture of him one time and said, you know, picture of criminal goes viral. Women are, you know, attracted to the sexiest criminal alive, you know, and I'm going, why are they glorifying a criminal because he's handsome? You know, but he was a viral story for a little while because he was a handsome criminal. You know.
Question?
Okay. Yes, you know, in movies also we see that police officers should aim to the shoulder, you know, to disarm someone, but that in reality is almost impossible because you see at the end the sequences that she was at 30 meters, something like 30 meters, very far. With a pistol, you cannot aim precisely in this distance. You should aim to the center of the body, so you will have some chance to kill the bad guy. But it's not reasonable aiming to a shoulder from more than 5 meters away.
It was an exaggeration, you know, for the movie.
All the movies, like say that, but I don't think it's real.
Yeah.
She was a liberal, don't forget.
Yeah.
So, can you shoot such precisely?
Yes, I agree with Gerard. It's impossible because I have the experience for gun in the special places. It's impossible to shoot gun in the goal from the 15 meters. But we saw the 30 or 25 meters, but it's impossible.
Yeah. Well, you know, snipers exist, so it's all questions
not
of
sniper.
practice.
It's not sniper. It's a shotgun.
Yeah, but I mean, in general, you know. So when I was in army, we have a special officer like a trainer for shooting. So, and he dedicated his life to this. So he was shooting every day, you know, from the morning until night. So it was his life. So he showed a lot of tricks to us. So he can shoot, you know, like in Western, without aiming something, just, you know, just putting gun like this. But it's a special, you know, it's almost artist or something.
But she was not expert of gun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she was. I mean, she practiced at the shooting range. Yeah. But again, her gun has a short barrel. When your gun has a short barrel, it's not that accurate compared to a rifle that has a long barrel. So, as Sergey said, there's physical differences between having a telescope and a long barrel and no telescope and a short barrel. It's more difficult to be accurate because the weapon's not designed to be accurate that far.
Yep. I agree. So movies always exaggerate, you know. So in some action movies, they take a small pistol, and shoot from it like for half hour, you know.
No, Sergey, Ivan, I don't understand one thing.
Please?
Which one is easier, to shoot somebody at a close range or how many meters away?
The closest, the better, you know. So
one meter is perfect.
You can't miss if you're 2 feet away. We call that point blank range. You can't miss. If you hold a gun right here to shoot me, you can't miss.
Oh, thank you. Lee.
But if you're far away, I can move, or you might miss a little bit. It's more difficult. So farther away is worse.
It's just ballistics, you know. Your how we call this jacket? I forgot how we call this.
Bulletproof vest.
Bullet, yeah.
Bulletproof vest.
Yeah, your bullet can be kind of not ideal and airflow and something, so you can never be sure.
Yeah.
Okay, Vasant, please.
Yes, in movies they also forget to mention one thing: the velocity of the gun. You know, it can be shot with the one hand. You know, it will push back, and the aim would definitely be missed. So they purposefully avoiding that physics.
Yeah, if you shoot something fast, it'll go in a straight line for a long time before it starts dropping. If you shoot something slow, it'll start dropping earlier. So the slower the velocity of the bullet, which depends on the power of the gun, then the less accurate too, because the bullet trajectory is going to start going downward over longer distances.
So, Leila, you know, knife is the best. You know, you never miss.
Oh, thank you, Ivan. Oh, thank you.
Sergey, please.
Yes, and I remember the scene in the police department when the police officers stay in the gun in the table with the keys. After that, we had the story about killing Ruben, but in our country, if the police officer stays the gun, but after that they will hit the criminal or killing, he would have a lot of problem, and the criminal. It's a bad situation for a police officer. He was go to the prison, I think. But
if a policeman, you're saying if a policeman will leave his gun without control, like in a chest or on the table, it's impossible. Yeah, impossible.
Yeah,
we have a law, you know. Yeah, we have a law. So your gun can be only in 3 places. One is your hand, another one safe wallet in your house, and third one I forgot how we call this.
Yes.
Holder.
Yeah.
So gun can be in 3 places only, not more, not much.
My gun is my house.
Let me ask a question. I can't remember. Helen's bulletproof vest. Did she always wear that, or did her boss tell her to wear one?
I remember that she was unhappy about this vest. She said it's not sexy or something. It was a replica like this. So yeah, probably
she made a funny joke. You probably don't know it. We used to have a product for women. It was called a Wonder Bra.
Ah, yes.
And the Wonder Bra had wires under it that pushed up your breasts and made your breasts look larger.
Mm-hmm.
So this bulletproof vest made her chest flat. So when she put it on, she said, "This doesn't do much for my Wonder Bra." A little female humor there, Leila.
I see.
Okay, let's answer a few questions from our panelists. Thank you once again for questions. So, are serial killers famous in your country? Are they making headlines so often? Leila, tell us. I never heard about Turkey and serial killers.
No, the serial killers are not that famous. And just Lee was talking about the people who raped who raped women. If somebody just did something like that, usually in the prison, the other prisoners kill the rapist.
Okay.
To tell you the truth.
Well, unfortunately, we have in our story some serial killers, I remember, and some of them were free, were like in action for many years. So police was not able to catch them for a long time. If I'm right, it was like 15 years or 20 years almost. So because they are not like usual crimes. They are illogical. They have another motivation. It's very hard to catch them. So, and they have, well,
Ivan,
they're very careful. Yes.
This serial killer was killing women or?
Children, men, women, everyone.
Boy.
Yeah, this one. But it's not, well, I think we have not only the one. Sergey, do you remember others?
Not, I remember only Chikatilo,
Okay, but I think we had a few, but of course they're not famous, you know. We don't have copycats or something. People don't follow them, and they are not something, you know, respectful for another crimes. So in the prison they will just drop something on the microphone. So they would be killed by another prisoners, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking
So,
of
what else?
let me just mention one thing. Speaking of copycat killings, our first school shooting happened in a school called Columbine.
Yeah, I remember.
And once that happened, once one guy did that, suddenly more school shootings. And now we have school shootings every friggin' day. So once somebody says, oh man, he took a gun to school and just started shooting people. God, I'd like to do that. I'm going to do that too. You know, you give ideas to people and they start copycatting your shootings. And that's what happened with our school shootings. We've got school shootings all the time now. Before we never had any. And then
So
one.
sad.
Yeah, it's a shame.
That in 2019 in America it was 425 mass shooting. It's more than days in the year. So on some on some days there was more than one mass shooting. So something is wrong, definitely.
Yeah, it's out of control now, but it all started with one guy that did it. And then somebody else says, you know, I can do that too. He got famous. He got his picture in the paper. He killed people he hated. I want to do that too, you know.
Yeah, Tishali, when you mentioned this Columbine, right? Columbine?
Yeah, Columbine.
Yes. I remember that 2 years ago, Sergey, you must remember this. We had a boy, student who tried to repeat this Columbine in his own school. So we have a copycat, actually. I just remember.
Not. We. I think that we have last 2 years 3 cases, maybe. But it is not. Okay. But it's not the big cases.
Yeah,
one victim or 2 victims. But the big cases with 14 victims in the Crimea.
But it's all different. You know, in Russia, 1 victim or 2 victims, it's like a mass shooting for us.
But we don't have the gun of my parents, and I think that's why.
Guns are easier to get over here.
Well, guns are easy to get there as well, but we don't have this culture, I think, or something.
Yeah,
different. Okay, let's go on. I read the questions. Another question. Is being a juvenile an excuse in your country? Do you remember, Tishali, we had this conversation about, you know, excuses. You call them not excuses, someone else. Lighters or something. So something that that kind of excuse you or make your heavy.
If you're under 18 and you commit a crime, we can choose to try you as an adult, which means you get real punishment, prison, death penalty. But usually if you're under 18, we try you as a juvenile and the punishment is less severe. They hide it in your record so no one knows that you killed someone. I don't agree with that myself. If you plan a murder, I don't care how young you are, if you plan a murder, you're a murderer, you know?
Lee, if I'm wrong, please tell me. So those children could be under probation?
Possibly. Or they go to what we call a youth center.
Okay, we have got
a juvenile jail, really. It's not very, you know, it's more like a boarding home.
Okay.
So
well, we have the same, and yeah, and I think it's a terrible places, you know.
Yeah.
Because children, they don't have, you know, any like experience. They are what's the word? Ruthless or something. How say? I can explain as well. But they have a lot of rage. So when you put a few juvenile crimes together, it's wow. Something.
Really?
Yeah, they're not mature, you know, not disciplined.
Yeah, and you cannot manage them well because, you know, your hands are tight, right? You cannot do anything with them. So it's always a house. Gerard, please.
So in Europe, the aim of the jails is to change the conduct of bad people, no? So to convert good people to bad people. But when I watch the American movies, it's just like the jails are aimed to punish people. So they don't want to do the crime again. Is it that like this, Teacher Lee?
We don't really Yeah, there's two philosophies in America, or maybe more, but some people, the liberals, want to rehabilitate the prisoners, train them to do a job, you know, and then put them back in society and let them be a normal part of society. The other school looks at prison as a punishment. They're dangerous, put them there, keep them there, you know, don't give them a TV. The liberals want to give them a TV in the basketball court and train them to do a profession, let them go again. And other people, you know, me, if they kill someone, I'd execute them. Why keep them in prison for the rest of their life, 80 years? What kind of a life has he got living in a prison cell for 80 years? It's punishment, yeah, but it's a waste of money because we got to feed the guy. We've got to have a guard there, and these guards are at risk every day from being killed by the guy. I would just execute, you know, bad criminals myself. But the liberals want to, you know, put them back into society, and most of the time they end up killing again. Sometimes the day they get out. So it's a philosophy difference what prison's purpose really is.
There is a law of 3 strikes or something in America, in some states, right?
Yeah, we did that because some guys, they'll commit a crime and be released, commit the same crime again and be released, commit the same crime again and be released. It's ridiculous. So some states said 3 strikes, like baseball. You commit it once, you commit it twice, the third time you go to prison. There ain't no being released anymore.
Yep. I like this idea. I think we need this in Russia because we have kind of a sport for criminals. You know, they have like 20 times of prison time or something else, and it makes them, you know, to feel superior to other crimes. So I'm so experienced.
Yeah,
culture,
you know,
I would say.
What are they going to do to me? Put me in jail or prison for a year? That's okay, you know. But if you say they're going to kill me or put me in prison for life, it's a little bit different situation, you know.
Yep. Okay.
Question, Ivan, for you.
Please.
Do you send bad prisoners to Siberia, like the tradition says?
We have some jails in Siberia as well as everywhere. But, you know, in general, yes, in general, we don't have too many prisons in Moscow, you know, because why? Moscow is overcrowded. So, yes, we send them to Ural, to Siberia, or to something. So, it's partially true. But it's not to punish them. It's just because, you know, it's easy to maintain or something. Mm-hmm. Okay, can you see my sharing?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, let's start. Oh, I lost control again. Okay. Copycat, how do you like this picture? Have you
Dripping blood.
Bloody.
Okay, let's start with this one. Basans, please, could you start?
Yes, this is where Dr. Helen was giving a speech to the students or the spectators. An auditorium, it looks like an auditorium. There is a huge screen so that everyone can follow the speech. We can see cameras and lightmen, I think. He's holding a light, huge light. We can see chairs. What do we call the place was standing behind? I don't know, the wooden structure.
Yes. I'm sorry to say, but you have an intermittent internet today. It's hard to understand what you're saying.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, but I can see a camera and a light on tripods, right? Usually
tripods.
Tripods, on tripods, and we can see a big screen with your image. So it's a what's the name for the projector or something?
Projector screen.
Projector screen. And what is interesting, that audience in this hall, they seems to be unprepared. They are not experts. They're not like a crime student or something, because, you know, they don't aware of anything. So it's like a introductory lesson. It's what I got it, how I got it. Okay, any questions? We can go?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go further. Okay, Gerard, please. Describe
Here
this
we
one.
can see Colin, the guy that escaped from prison and wanted to kill Helen, and he kills the police officer because he did, while she was hanging with a steel wire. I don't know whether to call cable or wire. Is it the difference between?
Yeah, wire's thinner.
So it's a cable that? Okay, good.
I'd call it a wire.
Mm-hmm. Okay, a wire. Okay. I don't know what more.
Okay. I remember he was asking, should I stab him or shoot him or both or something. It was some kind of...
Yeah, she had a knife and a gun. This gun was from the police officer.
Yeah. Okay, she wears a red dress.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was important somehow for this copycat.
Red is a power color for women. When they want to show that they're bold and confident, they wear a red dress.
Yeah.
But the woman in red, do you
Yeah.
remember this movie?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can see this hand dryer.
Hand dryer, yep.
And another box is for...
Probably a paper towel dispenser.
Paper towel. Okay, good. Let's go on. Sergey, please find something here.
Yeah, there is a room of the flat of Helen, and we can see a lot of details. And I like the unusual jalousie.
Drapes. Yep. Drapes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and in the center of the room, we can see the table for job, maybe for work. On the left side, old stylish TV, and on the left side, near wheel, we can see the special device for bottles of wine, and we can understand she's an alcoholic. And,
Alcoholic. Yeah.
In the center of the room, we can see the beautiful view on the San Francisco with the skyscraper, and a lot of lights, a lot of small detail as a decor. On the floor, we can see the small pool.
Yeah. Usually, how a retired expert, can afford such a flat in San Francisco?
Well, I think she had published books, so she was, made money from book royalties, probably.
Okay.
Is that a penthouse, Teacher Lee? Penthouse?
I think she walked outside. She was at ground level, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure.
But she has an upstairs. You can see some stairs here, so
Yeah,
I think she lived at ground level, but maybe not. Maybe she was on a second or third floor. I'm not sure.
Sergey?
But the interesting moment, I can't understand when I watched the similar video, where they reach money for penthouses, for beautiful flats, for some building, but because they doesn't work. She doesn't work. That's all.
Yeah, but as Teacher Lee said, Sergey, she's an author of many books, so books are bestsellers, so she had a lot of money.
Okay.
Because people like to read, about this, how we call them, hot facts, serial killers, all these things.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Yeah.
At this time, people used to read more than nowadays.
Yeah, nowadays we have YouTube for this. Nowadays she would be a YouTube star, But today I will tell you about something and something. Okay, Leila, please. What is happening here?
Okay, I know this lady on the right, the police woman.
MG.
Monahan?
GM.
Yeah.
Monahan.
Okay. I don't know the person who is on her
boss.
right, for you on the left, right? So this could be the office, police department, maybe.
Yep, that's her boss. Yep.
Boss, okay. He's smoking. I can see the ashtray and I can see the lamp on. And then that's some medals maybe on the right on the wall. And I don't like the way she gets dressed. So, informal? No, so formal, I think. And I can see a lot of maybe files and books on the left next to the window. I can see, okay, I can't see a lot because it's a kind of messy room for me. And the guy is looking and he is thinking, I think, and he looks serious. And the woman doesn't look very happy. They're looking at somewhere, but I don't know what.
Are they talking to Helen here? I can't remember, or just a, I don't remember the scene. Yeah.
Yeah. Me either. Okay, let's go on. We can find something more interesting. Vasants, could you please explain this one?
Yes, Helen was in her office room and she is thinking about something, and we can see a lot of things on her day table. A monument. Is that a monument?
Not a
Boy.
monument. Monument's large. We'd call it a figure, a statue, or figurine.
Okay.
Looks like a caveman. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's made of wood.
Yeah.
And monitors and keyboards.
Those are heavy monitors, boy.
Yeah. And I don't know, very little things. It could be file folders.
Yeah, file folders.
Racks for books and files.
Tivoli chairs.
Yeah. Too much. I don't know what she's doing with 3 computers at a time.
Yeah.
Two,
He's a
maybe
power
2.
user like me. Looks like she's got a game on one. The center one looks like some kind of a game, a fish swimming or something, or some kind of animated game.
Yeah. Do you remember
The right-
moment
A
when
screensaver maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe a screensaver.
Yeah. Do you remember the moment when she had a panic attack? She was chatting with someone and feel a relief. Do you remember? It was on one computer is especially for chatting. It's kind of a support group, how we call it?
Yeah, support group. Yeah.
Support group for people agoraphobic, or I don't know, in general of mental illness.
Yeah.
And they just communicate, and it's makes them feel better, I guess.
Yep.
Or something.
Yep. How you doing today? Oh, it's better than yesterday, but just support each other, commiserate together.
Yeah. Leila, why do you think knowing about that, other people feel the same makes you feel better? So she said, I had a panic attack. I cannot go out of the house. And another guy say, I have the same condition like for 3 months, and it makes you better. Why?
It's like a competition. I've been homebound 6 months. Well, I beat you.
But maybe they can have something, they have something in common. Maybe, it's mutual feeling. I'm not sure. But it's a kind of comfort if you find somebody who share the same feelings.
Well, you are right, Yeah, you are right. I read an article. It's very important. This pyramid of Maslow, or how we call it. Teacher, do you know Maslow pyramid? Pyramid of Maslow?
Yeah.
Moscow?
Maslow. Okay. I will.
Mosques? Muslim?
In the chat. No. It's just a name of scientist. So Maslow pyramid. Maslow.
Maslow's pyramid. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's grammar. That's English, right?
No, it's about your
Motivation.
Motivation when you
Yeah.
feel safe. So if you
Yeah.
to feel safe, you have to be a part of some group. If you're not in the group, you know, we are primates after all, so you cannot feel well. So you cannot feel good. So if someone, you know, if you can relate to someone, it's make you feel better.
Yeah. That's what.
Okay.
Why religion is good for.
Why not? Yeah, it makes you, you know, in a clique you have a lot of, you know, friends or someone you can relate to.
No, I agree. Really. I can call somebody and say, oh, I feel very ill today. I have a headache. And she says, oh, me too. Okay, I feel better.
it works. Okay. Gerard, please describe this one.
This is the way, this is when this guy, the Chinese guy, was handcuffed here, but the other colleague of MJ left his revolver inside the drawer, unlocked drawer. So the Chinese guy took the revolver, and when I think he tried to kidnap this police officer by surprise, and MJ shoot him at the shoulder, but then he could take the revolver and kill him.
Yeah.
Ruben, what's the name of this guy? Ruben?
Yep.
Yes.
And Ruben was kind of like a good policeman. I mean, mild policeman as well.
Yes, I like them.
She bring a donut. She was not like pressing this guy. He said opposite. I will give you donut, behave well, and you go home. You know. So.
And we didn't talk about something that happened in the movie. Do you remember this triangle between and the other police officer, and you know, one triangle. Also, Helen was in the middle.
Yeah.
So strange relationship. And the other police officer was jealous of him, but he didn't like MJ at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Another
I think it was her ex-husband.
Or partner. Yeah.
One officer was her ex-husband, I think, and he didn't like Ruben.
I like Ruben.
Yeah. Leila, do you know this actor from other movies?
Yes. This is 1995, and I watched one of his movies in which he acts wonderfully, and he looks so handsome.
Because his face looks familiar to me, but I cannot remember any title of his movies. You know?
No, he's Gabriel Gomez.
Okay. So, Sergey, please describe this one. What is happening?
This is a fire of serial killer's home, and we can see two, but it's not firemen. It's police officers who tried to find two serial killers and the same details, and the home looks like the typical American house of wood. And with the wood column, with a big terrace, and 2 floors, and the mansard floor.
Actually, SWAT is an abbreviation, right, from something special.
Special Warfare Attack Team.
Wow.
Or something like that. Yeah, they're kind of almost paramilitary.
I would like to join them, Lee.
Leila, it must be a tense work, I think, tense job. You have to run everywhere. You have to shoot. It's almost to be a soldier, I guess.
I know, but I would like to do something like that. Believe me.
Okay.
But it is not possible. I know.
But cannot you join Turkish army or something? Can female join an army in Turkey?
I can tell you this. It's like SWAT. If you had something like that, I would. But no, I'm not, that young, not 18, not 20 anymore. It's better to start something earlier.
but in general, so some armies they don't have women. But in Turkey, can a woman?
In Turkey, we
soldier?
have women soldiers.
Okay. So
But
no
to
discrimination.
tell the truth, as I mean, Lee knows that my nature is different. I'm not that.
No.
You're a
I don't
warrior,
encourage you.
Leila.
No, I can't be controlled. I don't like rules a lot.
Okay, so you want
armies-
to be I understand well. You want to be a soldier, you want to have a gun, a big rifle, but you don't want to obey to rules, right?
Thank you.
But I understand. You will just shoot bad people, and protect good people.
Yes, bad people.
Okay, and you will judge by yourself, okay? Okay, so Leila, please, what is happening here? Who is a bad guy here?
Oh, I don't watch this part.
Okay, it's a serial killer, and the lady is our detective, GM or MG?
MJ.
Mary Jane, MJ.
Okay, you will tell us, Ivan, because
Okay.
I know. I could only watch the trailers. I told you I couldn't find the
Yeah.
film.
But you can describe some, some details of the pictures. Then
I don't understand why a serial killer has a face expression like that. Because I don't understand if he feels pity for her or if he is surprised.
I think I can tell you, because at that exact moment, our lady expert trying to save her life of policeman by jumping from a toilet seat, and she broke rules of serial killer, and serial killer got mad and did not kill policewoman because of this.
Yeah, just look at his face. His mouth was open. The face, I mean, strange. Okay.
Well, what he's doing, she's up there, trying to keep from being hanged, balancing on her toes, and he's going, I'm going to kill her right here in front of you. And that's when Helen said the only way to save Monahan's life was to distract this guy. So that's why she jumped off the toilet seat. And then that made him stop to go save her.
Okay. Yep. Did Helen do this on purpose?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise he was going to kill her. He said, I'm going to kill her right here in front of you. So Helen jumped off the toilet seat to make him stop doing that so he would come to keep her from dying.
So it distracted his attention, and I think he lost control.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. She wasn't showing fear, and he was kind of taunting her. His face is kind of a taunting face. Should I cut her? Should I shoot her? Should I cut her?
But he didn't cut her throat, right?
No, she lived.
Okay.
We have happy end here.
Now I'm curious. She's got a bulletproof vest on, but she's got blood, so I'm trying to figure that one out.
She was shot twice at least. One didn't do anything, but the other on the top shoulder. Okay. Maybe it was little free space, no
maybe. Okay. Collarbone or something wasn't fatal. Okay.
Okay.
Luckily, her left arm.
We can see some blood stain on this wall. What is this? So.
Where? I can't see one.
Behind his
okay.
hand.
All right. Okay. Okay.
His
a
tools,
little bit. Yeah.
Knives.
He has a belt, this policeman belt with many tools on it. I can see the
handcuffs.
Handcuffs.
Usually else. Handcuffs, maybe spare bullets.
I don't understand. Is it the camera on the right?
Exactly.
Yes, he was filming it.
Oh my God, he's a psycho, definitely.
He was filming her, so he could become famous, filming her death scene, if you will.
Wow.
And
that's why she ruined his movie.
Well, it's hard to see, but on this countertop, we can see many small, how we call this? I don't know. It's a piece of cloth, black cloth, and on it there are a lot of tools, medical tools. Small knives, how we call them, scalpels.
Yeah, surgical tools,
Surgical
scalpels.
Yes.
So he was going to torture her,
Torture, yeah.
Torture.
her for a long, I guess. So he prepares this, and we can see this. Yep.
Do we know anything about his background? You know, his past life.
Yeah, we know. He's a doctor, Leila. He is a shy person. He is living with his mother, and his mother looks like control him in many aspects.
Okay.
And if I remember
That's
right,
why he's using these tools. Okay.
I would not take it like an excuse, Leila, but yes, maybe that's fine.
Ivan, thank you.
Okay. Teacher Lee, did we miss something?
I'll just mention that Monahan's not wearing high heels.
Mm-hmm.
She's wearing practical working shoes.
Yeah.
So I give her credit for that. She's a very serious detective, takes her job very seriously. There's broken glass on the floor, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So some of that mess on the sink may be broken mirror glass.
Yeah. And she attacked it after Helen attacked it with this piece of glass or shard of glass. This guy.
Yeah.
Used it
The
like a
patch,
knife.
the patch on his shoulder usually is identifies his organization or his unit. So it might say, you know, San Francisco Police, you know, 21st Department or what office or station he's associated with. So it's an identification patch on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's it. Okay, tiled floor.
He's got a Keanu Reeves haircut. I hate that kind of haircut.
Okay, let's talk on it. Let's call it a day. So thank you very much for participating, for the nice movie. I enjoyed it. I watched it before, but I
Me
just
too.
watched like a new
Thank
one.
you. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lee.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.